asked the applicants what traffic studies have been done on the impact of all these additional trucks rumbling through tourism villages like Kangaroo Valley, over the heritage listed Hampton Bridge and through the tourism village of Berry.
I can only respond in terms of the RTA were contacted as we went into this process whether they had any issues with traffic moving up and down the Princess Highway, which clearly is the route they'll take, and they didn't have any issues.
They don't have to sit in traffic jams.
In 2007, staff had a meeting with the proponent, and there were a number of issues raised, one of which was details of the type of, how this proposal will benefit the community. That was 2.5 years ago, and I wonder if the staff would like to respond to how that will.
Mr. Russell.
As the applicant alluded to in his presentation, he alluded to meetings taking place with council, and to a certain extent that is correct. A firm of consultants and one of the co-owners met with council back in February 2006. The format meeting was attendance at a development advisory unit meeting, and some of you folks may have been to one of those. They happen each week. There is an hour set aside per appointment, and people come in and inquire as to how they would go about lodging an application or doing certain studies. Some of these meetings meet with people who have basically only a concept in mind for their development. Other people come fairly close to lodging development applications. This was a very initial meeting, sounding out what the issues council saw if such a proposal was suggested or was to proceed. There was a further meeting in 2007 where a little bit more detail was proposed in relation to it. And as again, it was a development advisory unit meeting, about an hour in all, and you probably have a copy of the minutes because they're available and have been provided to certain committee members. Basically, those minutes would indicate that certain issues need to be addressed. Now, I wasn't personally at those meetings. They were attended by one of my staff. The first contact we've had since that meeting in February 2007 was the lodgement at the counter of the development application and the EIS.
And is that acceptable? As Mr. Royston noted, part of the assessment process, we first of all have to look at the traffic analysis and decide whether that's accurate. We make our own independent assessment. We use our own traffic experts to ascertain the level of accuracy of the information that's provided. We then look at the road system and decide whether it is adequate in terms of its direct impact, and if it isn't, as Mr. Royston indicated with respect to Gumden Lane, for example, then the developer would be required to upgrade it. Just a second, I'm not finished. The second aspect of assessing that impact is also the indirect impacts, such as noise impact, on the level of amenity that people currently enjoy that live close to the highway, Island Point Road or Gumden Lane. We have to make an assessment on that. The second part of your question dealt with what's in it for you. And as again mentioned by Mr. Russell, we are required to consider social impact, economic impact, not just the number of jobs that are created by the development itself, but the broader economic and social impact on the community. And at the end of the day, the overarching issue in the 79C assessment is the public interest. And that goes directly to the issue that you raised. The panel and the staff doing the 79C assessment have to ask the question, is this development in the broader public interest?
No. We've already got the jail.
I've heard very clearly what your position is.
Now we get a
I'm not going to preempt what our answer is, but that's the question we have to address in the assessment, and the panel has to consider in making a decision.
Council might put some money into having some voice coaching and some microphone tuition for all of your talking about prevention here, but possibly fix it after it's broken. I think that is the most important thing that most people are a little bit worried about. Not only pollution, not only the environment, but also traffic. We're worried about our kids. We're worried about how it is going to affect our future generations. And I think that's the most important group of people that we need to be thinking about. All that's been presented, and on the basis that we all have opportunities to change our mind, what do you think right now of this proposal? If you were to vote on it tonight, what would you vote?
Look, to be honest, I think we'd actually like to talk about that in some ways, and I can sort of feel the councillors wanting to get up and say something on this point. But can I just say a couple of things on that? The councillors have not received a full report on this. And
so on your information now is what she's asking? I don't know anything about this until a week ago.
The difficulty... Look, the difficulty that we've got on this is if we say what our intention is before we receive the full report, we're actually in breach of our own code of behaviour. Okay? It's actually for us to do that. I'm just trying to be genuine with you here. For us to do that would to be a breach of our own code of behaviour.
Can you answer it then instead of a councillor?
I'd be lucky if I could breach it, let me tell you, but it's just not it's not an appropriate thing to do. It's not an appropriate thing to do.
It's a little bit different, I think, to this particular site in the sense that, and I'm sure you did a wonderful job there, I'm not questioning that, but did the applicant firstly consider this effect on tourism? And the second part of my question is, did the applicant inspect other sites for this mega tip before they actually, focused on this Tomarong one?
Thanks for the question. Look, when we acquired the quarry, our partner that we went into business with for Tomarong Waste had already made moves and felt that the site was appropriate. And on our review, we also felt that it was appropriate and would be well suited for the application.
There's a question up here.
On the end there, how is he going to run his vehicles or his trucks unless he cuts hazardous materials to charge for them? There's no way he's going to make money out of rubbish. So it's going to be hazardous material come to our tip. To charge for it, we had to charge a lot of money. And then he gave it 30 kilometres out of the area. So how's he going to maintain it and run?
It's highly probable that the applicant, that is us, won't be running the vehicles ourselves. Oh, sorry. We are unlikely to be running the transport vehicles ourselves. So they'll be delivered to us by other transport companies.
So how do you make money? You charge every rubbish?
Save money by charging a tip fee.
Okay, Leslie.